Hello and welcome to episode 19 of Dynamically Spoken, the weekly Guild Wars 2 podcast brought to you by Guildmag. As you can see, today we have Ali and Steve with me. I got it right for once.
Hello!
Jason's
Hello.
not with us because his cat's got worms and all sorts of things associated with that. So we'll get the details next week. We didn't put out an episode last week, unfortunately, because I'm kind of in like the middle of exam season at the moment. We didn't have time to record and edit and all that sort of stuff. And it also means I actually haven't had a chance to log into Guild Wars 2 for a while. So really, we didn't really have much to talk about from my point of view. But we are back, and this week we are going to be looking at the Dragon Bash Festival that's coming on the 11th of June. But before that, we're going to go to the news with Ali this time. You want to take it away?
Yeah, I was thinking about doing like a deep voice like he does, like, like the kind of bravado he has, but I'm not even going to try because it's going to come out in dismal. So this week for the news, we'll start with the Southbound Cove update stuff. We missed it last week, but basically there was a video of the last stand in Southbound Cove and what we could expect. And with the update that came, we got a single and multiplayer dungeon. We got a new meta event, which was the Queen Kaka, which you'll get 2 golds from, and other little bits of glorious fun in there. And then we also got new guild content, which actually include a guild puzzle from Snowden Drifts, which I actually played. It was a lot of fun. We also got updates to World vs. World, which actually is just, you get tons more experience for doing things in World vs. World, and you can level up a lot faster. Plus you can get ascended items for laurels and badges of honors in Guild Wars in the World vs. World. What else do we have? We also have, and this is a pretty good one if you like doing jumping puzzles, you can now exit in the portals behind you when you enter the jumping puzzle in World vs. World. Before you were kind of trapped, and if there were people ganging up on you, you just kind of had to go for it, but now you can go back through the exit. We also got a lot of stuff in the Black Lion Trading Company gem store, which included custom arena time tokens, a consortium harvest sickle, which is the permanent sickle, and new animal hats! Yay! And apart from that, we got a lot of information about the Dragon Bash, which I won't spoil, and a lot of things to PvP as well. We're going to get updated leaderboards, and there's also been an announcement just today about authorized shoutcasting on PvP matches, and there's also a lot of like speculation coming out from .dat Mind things that include Skyhammer, which is a confirmed. I don't think it's confirmed. I'm pretty sure it's confirmed, perhaps. It's a new PvP mode, and also they confirmed that there is going to be a looking for group tool in the game. And that is the news.
Yeah, definitely one of the interesting things I think as well with the WVW change is they basically made it where if you already have WVW levels, it'll like add that to your leveling, so it makes it like you've been at that. So what it basically tries to do is it like for every level you gain in WVW, it adds on the level that you already had to the XP plus the bonus that it's now giving to make you level even faster. So for all the people who grind and they felt like, well, I did all this grinding at the old speed, but now this new speed's here, and these people are gonna, it's still gonna take it to a point where it adds all the extra bonus until you hit your level. So it actually knows how much you earned, and it's gonna accommodate that plus the new into the thing now. So they did a really, like, I mean, I don't know how they did that. I don't know how complicated it was, but it was very thoughtful, and it was so far implemented successfully.
Yeah, a lot of people were also very happy that they gave chests. You know how you got chests at the end of each level? Now, well, people who grinded previously were also like, 60 levels or something like that. They actually got 60 chests. So no one missed out. They got the chests even though the update was later.
Yeah, like definitely put a magic fund and start opening those things up.
Alright, so before we go into the main Dragon Bash thing, last week we were going to talk about the Last Stand at Southland patch, but obviously we didn't get a chance. So quickly, have either of you got any highlights or maybe lowlights of the patch? I didn't really get a chance to play it, obviously because of exams, but I'm guessing you two did. So anything you want to share?
Yeah, I actually I talked about this on the COT podcast, but I really didn't like the solo dungeon. The solo dungeon was a very lonely experience for me, very frustrating, and they gave you a chance to do it daily and get 1 gold daily. They gave you a chance to get 1 gold daily for doing it, and it was such a lonely and horrible experience for me. Like, I just didn't enjoy doing it because it wasn't with people, but I didn't even bother doing it daily to get the gold. So I didn't enjoy it at all. But the group one, it was okay if I didn't have to play the solo dungeon and do the exact same thing but just a little bit harder. It was just a bit tedious in my mind.
Yeah, I didn't spend much time. I didn't find that particularly compelling. The rewards were there for people who wanted the rewards, so that gave you something to do. But as far as the instance itself, it didn't seem too developed.
No,
that's probably something they're going to take on feedback, because it really seemed like it was kind of like there wasn't as much development time or resources put into it.
Yeah.
So they were, like I said, like the first one, the dungeon was amazing. That could have been something that they previously had, and then they implemented it here. We don't know the complicated things that go involved with that. So this could be something for them to say, well, this obviously might not have been developed enough, based on our feedback, and if other people felt that way.
Yeah, yeah.
So do you think like doing it on the monthly cycles may be a bit too much for them at the moment then? Because I think there was a Reddit post on this a couple of days ago about how maybe doing it in the monthly cycles, maybe then releasing stuff that's not as polished as it should be. What do you guys think?
Yeah. I can definitely say the storyline from ArenaNet is lacking. The only character I got even slightly attached to during this whole thing was, or even I only know slightly anything about, was Lion Guard Kill. And we were meant to, because, she's going to come out later, but Kanik, surely we were meant to, feel a little bit more, even though he's evil, feel a little bit more attached to Kanik. And I find that he's that token bad guy, that faceless token bad guy that really... Yeah. I don't know, was he trying to help people? And in the end, he wasn't even trying. They made him out sound like he doesn't care who gets killed as long as he gets revenge on the consortium. Why does he want... I don't... it felt very lackluster. And as a lore person, I would really prefer that be a little bit more polished. It definitely feels like it was oh my god, what do we do with him? Okay, just make him evil. Just, don't give him backstory, just make him evil. That sort of feeling to it. Which I know they
he didn't even... There wasn't really any interaction even in the dungeon itself. You just kind of came in there and he just attacks you. And there was a little lore char, I think, in the beginning, which would kind of tell you a little bit, but it really, I just didn't feel that there was too much to that. One nice thing though was the magic find bonus. It was something like 200%, and it made the zone really active. People would kind of run back and forth between the two champion, the rioters or the riots that used to go on in there, and it livened up the zone, made things pretty fun. It wasn't any super meaningful content, but just having that little buff there was enough to bring people together, just to run around together. I think I'm sorry if I misquoted or misrepresented, but I think it was MMORPG. They had an article and it was similar to the same thing. And I really agreed with the point. I'll try and find the article and give it to Rowan if I can. But he basically said just having something like that and bringing people together, like I said, doesn't have to be any great meaningful content. It's just how normal MMO should feel, of just being in the same chat and telling jokes and doing you're not really doing anything that involves too much. You're just kind of doing it together and kind of talking and interacting at the same time. And I think when he described it, I was that is a good point. We don't need the epic battle every time, just something to bring us together so that we could have fun together.
That was a point I made about the single player dungeon. It's like so many people were going, oh, they actually made a single player dungeon because people were complaining that they couldn't get groups to finish the content. And I said, hang on, why are you pandering to these sort of people? Because it is an MMO. It's not a single player game. If you need fulfillment from that sort of, that sort of fulfillment, you need to go play a single player game because Guild Wars is ultimately an MMO, and yes, they've made it so that we don't have to have a healer and stuff like that, which is really good, because that means that people can play together the way that they want to. But to make single player dungeons is not the point I play Guild Wars. If I was playing Guild Wars for single player things, I would have quit ages ago because I just don't find that sort of content compelling enough to keep me here. I stay because of my guild and my friends, and to make me go through content through the game by myself is very frustrating to me. It's not the reason I play.
Yeah, I think a lot of the issues with MMO development is you have such contrasting ideals. People will go full on one side, and it's very polarizing. It's probably extremely difficult. And, I think they tried it, and I tend to agree with you that I would rather have some things which, if you want to make it sort of single player, make it so it's not difficult, so a person could join with a pug and be successful. Make that sort, and then make the more complicated, harder stuff as well, like experience or hard mode or nightmare mode, whatever they want to call it. But I definitely agree that if you aren't an MMO, you can still play by yourself on other things. But I don't know about dungeons. I think jumping puzzles was reward enough for people who like to do a lot of things solo, because you could do it together or you could do it solo. So I think that, but actual fighting and bosses and stuff solo, I'm not. There's probably people out there who'd be like, oh my god, I would love that, and and you might be right, and there might be room for it sometime, but I don't think this attempt was successful.
No.
It didn't feel rewarding.
No.
All right then, should we move on to the Dragon Bash?
Yay!
I think something we're all
Bash
pretty
the
excited
dragon,
about.
bash the dragon. Yes! I have that song
Trailer
stuck in my
was-
head.
Yeah, it was a good song. It was a good trailer. Like, it really,
Yeah.
it like, some people were responding like it's like a folk song, which is something, that's a powerful word for an MMO, a word like folk, because that means history and depth and things like that, which people love.
It really feels like I get shivers. Like on the COT podcast, when Naveen, one of the other hosts, was like, "Do you see this? I have shivers." After we played it on the podcast, and it's true. Like when I listen to it, I get hyped up and I feel good, and it feels like that's how I should feel. About a festival, and I think ArenaNet has this amazing ability with festivals to get me to feel like that.
That was actually a point I was going to bring up. I've just said, I don't think I've ever been disappointed with an ArenaNet festival as far as I can remember. So I'm definitely thinking this is going to be up there with one of my favourites. So
yeah, no,
I'm
so excited.
And they do a great job because, they're wise in that they invest in Lion's Arch, because Lion's Arch is the main hub where people gather. So when they completely reskin like they did for Halloween and Christmas with the lights and just reskin the entire, because that's the place you're constantly going to. So every time you come back, you're like, whoa, okay, there is something going on here, and I think that it's really smart of them to actually spend development costs and assets into changing the environment and not just having a separate area where this occurs. It's it's changing the world. It's not just changing an instance of the world.
Yeah, it's about time. I think about a week ago, I was sitting in Lion's Arch and I was just like, you know what I miss? I miss Winter's Day. I miss the jumping puzzle. Every time I wanted to break from grinding or just to do something different, go into Winter's Day jumping puzzle, go to Winter's Day PvP or something like that. Man, I missed a festival. And then, Dragon Bash came out and I'm like, ah. And what I love is we actually did a lore episode on COT. Sorry, I'm mentioning COT too much. Not plugging at all. We just did a lore episode about the past Dragon festivals. In Cantha and, historically where that came from. And we realized that there's a lot of activities for the Dragon Festival. And by the look of this, there's going to be activities just the same, and things to do, and like I won't spoil, but roller racing, oh my god, like the gambling. I'm so excited for activities because that is what I've been wanting for a while, like just something to break up what I've been doing so far, which is just grinding.
Yeah. I honestly can't wait for the mower racing. I remember when Guild Wars 1, every year the Beetle racing was there, I was so competitive with it. I was like, ah!
I have to burst your bubble. It's not that racing. It's actually, it's gonna be like gambling. You choose a mower, and it's like the 9 rings of the thing. But they wanted to put roller beater, because I thought it was roller beater racing as well, and I was like, yay, we can become a mower. But it's not that one, sorry. Oh, I feel bad for bursting your bubble.
I'm just gonna go away now. Bye.
Oh, no, but they said they wanted to replace the gambling, like the 9 ring and the rings of fortune. They wanted to replace that.
So other things that we're getting, like other activities, we're getting holographic dragon minion things we have to find. Dragon Ball, I'm really.
That's interesting, yeah.
Oh yes, I loved Dragon Arena.
I love Dragon Ball Z. Oh, one of Piccolo's.
Dragon effigies, fireworks shows, and the effigy light.
The fireworks, I don't know how. I mean, that sounds interesting. Like they're actually like there's going to be a set time when the fireworks are going to come on. You know, it's like it feels eventful. Like
yeah.
Again, that's the things they do that make it like they're like, okay, you got to be here at this time, and people are gonna be like, well, what if I have a job? They're like, well, they're doing it different. Just go away. Like they're gonna have an exact time when this is gonna happen, and you show up, and it's gonna be, people, everybody in Lions are probably multiple instances of it, and the fireworks are gonna be going off, which I think is, I mean, that's again, it's really cool, like making it feel eventful. Like you have to be there at a certain time. Granted, multiple times, but you have to be there.
Yeah, I think one thing I'm really looking forward to is our guild is very like into these sort of things, PvE sort of stuff, and I can just imagine like us meeting together, like putting in guild chat, are you going for the fireworks? And 5 people go, yeah, and like let's meet up together, and in an overflow or something like that, we'll meet together and we'll stand around and we'll watch the fireworks together. To me, that feels really like kind of moment, like makes my heart feel nice and warm, and that's what I want from a festival, to like do things with friends and have activities to do with friends. And it's not a big activity where you have to spend an hour, you spend 15 minutes together and you still get that warm glow.
So something we brought up in the last episode we did was how they were going to like style the decorations, if they were going to be like Canton style or kind of their own sort of Tyrian style. And actually some of it is quite like a nod to Canton things, like I don't know what if they're called like kind of the dragon kitey things. I don't know. There's like balloons shaped like dragons that were in the video, and they are like quite Asian and Oriental in their design. So I don't know. It brings up the whole question of like Cantha again. Are we ever going to see it? Are we not? And to me, I don't know. I've just got a feeling like it doesn't feel like they've completely written it off. But then again, it could just be like, okay, this is all we're going to do with Canth. There's just a nod to it, but we're never actually going to go there. So I'm kind of like in 2 minds of the whole situation to it. I don't know if either of you had any thoughts about it based on like...
Don't forget about the Jade weapon skins, which are the official weapon skins, which is Jade. Yeah. That's very Canthan. And the style, the dragons on the, like, I don't know if you saw the shield, it's like one of those long twisty dragons, which is very Asian. I think I was very much like, oh, if they show us Canthan things, they're going to go to Cantha, and if they don't show us Cantha things, they're not going to go to Cantha. And ArenaNet managed to get smack bang in the middle, so I have no idea anymore. And I was saying, last week, I'm really worried that because no one has actually from ArenaNet has come out to debunk these claims that, we're never going to see Cancer. Is it ArenaNet going, oh, we're going to do Cancer next, and we're going to make them all think that we're not going to do Cancer? Or are they going, let's not address this issue because they're actually right? Yeah. And that worries me.
Yeah.
Or maybe,
go on.
Like, imagine this, like the entrance to Canada. Like, there'll be a huge panda dragon, and we have to slay the panda dragon to get it.
I can just imagine it's
Cut
like
the panda down. Oh!
I just imagine it's this dragon with like this massive like headband with like little panda ears. He's like maybe wearing like on all his 6 of his feet. He's wearing these like little panda mitts that they have in Japan.
Cut the panda. Arr.
Oh,
I mean, you know, if you think about it, it's like any good storyteller. It's the most exciting story that they want to tell you, you have to kind of drag it out of them. You could look at it that way, like, you know, like, you guys gonna do Kant, and then it's gonna like, I can't. And they're like, nah, or they'll change the subject really quickly. So you're like, oh, should I ask him again and be annoying? Is he gonna actually tell me the story? And you know, like any good storyteller, it's like they leave the tricks up their sleeves, and it, like you said, it may or may not, and we don't know. And they, you know, it's something for us to feel invested and want in Guild Wars 2. So it could be something that, like, if they see enough demand and they really haven't started working on the expansion, you know, maybe this is something they could look forward to, or they could decide to do. It's just interesting, like, how was it a conscious choice to leave it out so that people would demand it and get people more invested? You know, like you know, consciously or subconsciously.
mm.
Right. So the Dragon Bash rewards we haven't talked about yet, but oh my god, those wings, those holographic wings, I want them so badly.
Which ones do you want? The holographic ones or the shattered holographic ones?
Holographic ones. So yeah, I'm just gonna.
Yeah, I wasn't too thrilled about the tarantula back thingy from the previous one.
Oh god, no! Oh, yeah.
Like, I could see how some people would like it, but you know, I just.
Yeah.
But the new one, yeah, the dragon wings. I mean, that might be something to work for.
Yes, I think people will absolutely love it. It's definitely one of those things. I hope it's not something you can get every year, because I can imagine so much that this would be like prestige thing. You were there for the first Dragon Bash, you'd get these beautiful wings. That would be fantastic.
They could like maybe change the color every year or something. That might be quite cool. I don't know.
That would be cool. I think that this is definitely one of the things that Arena is dressing. Like, there's definitely those things in the game that everyone wants. For example, people want halos. People want those gauntlets that, you know, in the Guild Wars 1 that had the fire trails. People want wings. Oh my god, people go nuts for wings. Those sort of things. People want those things, and Dragon Wings is like a step into those things. Because ArenaNet has kind of like, they've backed off from things that we really want, like halos, fire halos, those sort of things. And this is kind of like a step into what people really want. And people don't want animal hats half as much as they want Dragon Wings. So I'm so excited for this.
I remember,
keep the fangirl inside.
I remember in Guild Wars 1 when Aeon launched and they had the Aeon wings in Guild Wars 1 for people who pre-ordered it, and I was like, oh, I'd get that game just for those wings. But I never bothered. But
Yeah.
It's kind of like that all over again for me.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
So the other awards we get, let me just bring up my notes. I'm so prepared. What else do we get? We get that helmet thing that looks pretty cool. The Horns of the Dragon.
Dragon mask, yeah. Which is very traditional, because Guild Wars 1 always had masks at the end of their festivals.
What else? What other awards do we get?
You get
that mini pet.
Yes.
Do we know what it looks like yet?
There's 2 minis. One of them is the holographic minion mini, and the other one is the mower with the helmets during the festivals. You know, when the mower racing, they actually have mowers with those helmets on. Well, there's another mini where you can get that as well. Holographic minion, probably, I don't know. I have no idea.
Are there any screenshots of the weapon skins? Because I haven't seen them yet, if there are.
I'll see if I can find some for you. They're jade, and with gold emblazoned. Like, the metal is gold, and it's got like this Canthan dragons. Weapon jade, Dragon Bash. There's not very many pictures. There's a picture of a greatsword, and some other things as well. Let's see.
So while Ali's finding that, is there anything else you want to mention, Steve, about Dragon Bash? You can think of? Putting you on the spot now.
Well, this will be my first. This will be my first Dragon Bash, because I never played Guild Wars 1. So I'm definitely excited to check it out.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it's definitely something that they developed for. You know, it's not. I don't think it's like the previous one. You know, this is something that they had planned originally.
Yeah.
So it's. I mean, this is probably going to be something pretty substantial for us to be involved in, which is really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm pretty excited for
it. All right. So, have you found them? Yeah, or should we?
I found one picture. Unfortunately, there was a Reddit thread that had a lot of like captions from the video, and of course, I can't find it at the moment.
Okay. Well, I'll stick it in
but
the
I
show
found
notes.
one. Yeah, I found one which is the Great Sword, which is pretty iconic. Let me see if it's actually on the page. Let me see. The Great Sword is, you can see it's jade. It's got the little dragon head on it, and the scales. The hilt is all scales, and it's got kind of like a little red tassel, which is so Canthin. Absolutely so Canthin.
Yeah.
it. It is pretty ridiculous.
Okay, so in addition to the Dragon Bash, we're also getting a couple of PvP changes and things. So the authorized Shoutcaster program and basically improvements to the leaderboards. And Steve, you had some stuff you wanted to mention about PvP that's been happening sort of recently. So do you want to just take it?
Yeah. First, two congratulations. Congratulations to Team Sleepy, as they are now officially sponsored by Absolute Legends, which is an esports thing, franchise. So that's really cool. Congratulations to Team Doesn't Matter. The story is that within the last 30 minutes before the entries, they were able to enter into or get availability for the tournament sponsored by. I'm sorry. I think it's either MMORPG tournament or it might have been the Curse NA tournament. I'm sorry if I don't know the official sponsor. I think it was Curse, the Curse NA tournament, and they ended up winning. You know, people thought from the beginning, because Team Sleepy won the previous NA tournament, and they get sponsored by Absolute Legends, so they had all the hype going in, and they actually got 2-0'd during the thing to be eliminated. And also the Absolute Legends, and I don't remember if it was Soak sitting on a couch, but the third place match, the match between fourth and third place for the tournament, it was decided by 500 to 499. So if you get a chance to look up the Curse NA tournament, you can probably go to guildwars2guru.com. They have a lot of that stuff for the tournaments. Try and watch the VOD for that. It was really exciting match, that one.
Yeah,
and,
I think the best thing is that everyone assumed the 499 was going to win, and then they just needed one more point, and they almost got their point. They almost got that person down, and then they got interrupted, and then the other people held all 3 points. So they slowly went up. I think they went from 480 and 1 to like 500 or something like that.
Yeah,
it was ridiculous. You're like, any moment they're going to get that 1 point. Any moment they're going to get that 1 point, and they never did. And I feel so sorry for them, because I can just imagine how they must have felt. Like, they were like, we're gonna win this, oh my god, we didn't win.
Yeah, like Ali and I were like tweeting at each other during the time, like, she's like, oh my god, did you see that?
It was pretty intense.
Yeah, so if you get a chance, definitely watch. And it's good that I think almost every tournament has had like clutch moments like that, so it speaks good for Guild Wars 2. What's another thing? Miss League is starting soon, and Miss League is also now joining with MMORPG, which is definitely interesting. Like, I don't know if they described like sharing of assets and things like that, but Miss League and MMORPG are joining forces to promote Miss League, and Miss League's going to have a lot of prizes. It's going to be an entire league. It's an actual like series of matches during weekly and things like that are going to build into a culmination, not just one playoff tree, which sounds really interesting to show the longevity of teams, not just their ability to perform from one week to the next. Um, Also, as far as I guess I'll get to that different time. As far as balance changes during the end of I think it was either State of the Game or the end of the Curse tournament, John Peters showed up and he said the next balance patch is going to be quite substantial. And I don't remember, excuse me, I don't remember his exact verbiage used, but I believe that he said something along the lines of every trait, every character, or every profession is going to have a change in every one of their traits. Wow. Trait lines, like the actual trait lines. So there's going to be adjustments for every character at least. I don't know if he meant like one trait in every character, or if you meant like one trait in each line in every character. But every character is getting a change next patch. There's things. A lot of things coming down the pipe in that, so it appears that they are making. And again, they're not going to be like, well, this is going to get 1 to 1,000 points. They said that everything's going to be small, very incremental changes because they don't want to, slight changes can make something go from being, not used to overpowered. And so, but they are making substantial changes for the next patch, which I think is pretty exciting.
I wonder if it's relating to PvP, because obviously he said that during a PvP event, or if they're going to continue changing it to PvE, because that always worries me, because when they make changes for things for PvP, then things in PvE get left out, and when they make changes for PvE, things in PvP get left out. And when he's saying, oh, in a PvP event there's going to be tons of changes to PvP, that means oh my god, for me, because I play a PvP, but my heart is with PvE. It really worries me when they say things like that.
I think we mentioned it before.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's definitely one of the problems.
I was just going to say, I think we mentioned it before, didn't we, about splitting the skills for PvE and PvP versions, and I don't think anyone would really have a problem with that.
No, but they were so against it. They were like, nah, we're not going to do it, we're going to try and keep them only the same. I don't know why.
I think that is good, because if you get from the beginning of let's just change it, make everything separate, it's like, what's the tooltip going to look like? Is it going to be and not only that, but think about they have to balance it, and becomes, now they have okay, one skill becomes in essence 2 skills you have to balance. So I think the need for simplicity and to keep things as identical as possible is strong, but at the same time they saw, okay, we can't do this because this isn't working the way we intended, and we're going to have to split some of these abilities. So at the same time they're being cautious, but it seems they're taking a balanced approach, which I think is the most important. Don't just go all one way or the other.
Well, the same as they did in Guild Wars 1, Yeah. They were very balanced in that sense.
Guild Wars 1 was actually pretty a balanced game, actually. Definitely compared to Guild Wars 2, actually, I feel. Guild Wars 1 was a lot more balanced, I feel.
We had Langon, who hosts our other podcast, he used to play PvP all the time in Guild Wars 1. He basically started playing Guild Wars 1 for PvP. And pretty much now he just plays PvE. He's getting back into PvP, but to him it's it's nowhere near as as finished and polished as Guild Wars 1 PvP.
Yeah, I think that would definitely be a difficult expectation to satisfy because of the age and the maturity of one MMO compared to the other.
Yeah.
I think at the same time, from the latest signs, people are joining, PZ. PZ is now back in the scene, which was a guild that started and left. I don't remember if we discussed about it before. But the interest and getting 3,000 to 5,000 Twitch viewers at each tournament, that shows that there's interest. It's not, you can't compare it to the big three. LoL, Dota 2, and StarCraft 2. Those are well-established games. You don't want to compare yourself to that, but comparing yourself to recent, things, you definitely see there's an interest. Shoot Mania is something that's vying for esports and has consistent viewers and stuff like that. And you want to compare yourself against those type of guys, because you can't compare yourself to the, guys like the Odd One have 30,000 viewers every day. That is just absolutely ridiculous. He's, the amount that's invested in LoL and Dota 2 and SC2 right now. So I think the numbers are very, very encouraging, and they're rising. and the scene is getting competitive, and there's more teams. You know, the team that won, that team doesn't matter. He basically, the reason why it's called Doesn't Matter, he told the story, is he was filling everything in, and he had only a limited amount of time left, and he's like, well, what am I going to name this thing? And he's like, well, it doesn't matter. And he just typed in Doesn't Matter, and that's what it is. So it's, you know, you can see like that there's a lot of teams joining, and the newest team, which isn't, you know, beat out absolute legends. Not saying one's better than the other or worse than the other. It's just it shows the competitive nature that there's skill there, which is very interesting. And I guess finally, if you want to, I mean, do you guys have anything to add about structured PvP? Or?
I can't think of anything right now. No, I don't.
the other thing is, there for a second.
The other interesting thing was another. I mean, there was like 3 posts. You know, we had the leaderboards. So basically, quickly on the leaderboards, we just made it so you're not going to change high and low as much. So you're not going to go from like level 50 to level 1 in one shot. You know, they're going to make it so it's a little bit more iterative. And the second thing is where you're going to be able, your score is going to decay. The interesting thing that they did say, and or I might have overheard, I don't know if this is true, but they said as far as the decay process, that if you are starting to decay but you come back and play, it'll put you back at that level if you play and then add it to that. So it's like it'll decay, but if you come back within a certain amount of time, it'll just put you back where you were and then add on top. This way, if people have a little bit tighter schedules, you could still stay reasonably within your rank. But at the same time, if you stop playing, you know, we had people who haven't played for like a month on top of the leaderboards. It'll bring you down. So this way, the people who are playing a lot more can get their recognition on the top of the leaderboards.
I like that.
Yeah. So the other thing was the World v. Worlds. The ArenaNet, there was Devon. I don't know if it's Devon or Devon. I apologize. I think it's Devon Carver. He actually made a Guild Wars 2 official post on World v. World and talking about, you know, the current state and more arrow cards, which is kind of like the way things are going now, just stacking up arrow cards in World v. World. But what he did change is, like, they talked about something which is really interesting. Number one, which I thought was definitely interesting, is giving commanders more tools. Yeah. Because aside from having, like, the blue triangle above your head, you know, there's not really much you can do to, like, try and organize people.
Yeah.
Which makes you think, like, the ability to set waypoints and objectives on that for people, you know, or acknowledging, or maybe even sharing, you know, because I think the kind of like the war band or whatever the big parties are called, it's, I don't know how effective they are because you can only see 6, and it's not, you can't really see where everybody is in your entire group, so it's kind of like 6 separate groups, or separate groups merged together as groups of 6 people in the commander party, so to speak. But hopefully something will help those tools. The other interesting thing, and this could be really interesting because they did talk about their future plans, which obviously he did preface it and say this could be something that is not going to happen overnight. It's something that's going to be implemented if they choose to do it. But they talked about the potential for roles in World v. World. Yeah. Like somebody speccing towards, or however they decide to do it, towards like being a scout, somebody being like a siege operator, somebody being like, forgot the other example like he used, but actually having role. Yeah, defender. And actually having roles preferred roles in your in World v. World, which I don't know about you guys. I mean, I think that sounds pretty interesting.
I do like the sound of that. I think it'll take some of the pressure off just being in that Zerg all the time, because really that's the only effective way most people see to play World v. World. But if you have like a role that you're set out to do in World v. World, you're not necessarily just going to all be clumped together going for one target kind of thing. So I think I do like that idea. It kind of gives you a sense of like, well, a role basically, you know, a sense of like actually belonging there, like your actions will matter rather than just being part of a big mob.
I mean, it could be really cool. Like you could imagine, like even going of it even deeper into that, of saying like even weapon skins. Like if you pick a role and let's say you get like defender role, and you get like a certain amount of defenses, successful defenses, or maybe even defense attempts, or whatever that may be, like getting a certain skin for being a defender, or maybe even a title or something like that, or some sort of achievement you could work towards as a defender. So this way, people who maybe aren't super attracted to PvP, they can have something to invest themselves in that'll, say, hey, look, I'm a, defender of the mist or something along that nature.
It sounds good, yeah.
And it's, and I'll give the links to Rowan, because they also directly address Zergs in the article, and they're definitely talking about, like, all right, like if arrow cards can't be nerfed into the ground because they are necessary, they need to stop clumping of people or whatever. But they're talking about like how they need to have a counter for arrow cards, which I think a lot of people are kind of iffy on arrow cards the way they're implemented right now, because that just seems like the preferable thing to have, because they're so easy to implement or to use. So they are talking about different ways, and it's an interesting article to read about World v. World and the progress that they're making.
Definitely. Well, that's about it for me. Have either of you two got anything else you'd like to bring up before we wrap it up?
No, I think that's about it.
Alrighty then. So, as always, podcast@guildmag.com is the email address for all your comments, questions, etc. You can also use the comment system below on YouTube or the Guildmag website, wherever you're watching this. And actually, if you were previously subscribed to this podcast on iTunes, do let us know, because we have had some people requesting that we bring it back, and we will do that if there's a high enough demand, so do let us know about that. And of course, as always, the link to our Twitter account will be in the show notes, so you can always tweet us whatever you want. And that's about it, so I guess we'll see you next week. Bye guys.
Bye.
Bye guys.